The third season of has finished, so I'm gonna rank all three seasons of Invincible plus the anime special. Hi, my name is Nathan. I talk about a lot of movies on this channel. If you're new here, down below in the comment section, share your ranking of the three Invincible seasons over on my channel. I have more content like this. Check those out once this video is over. And if you enjoy this video, click the like button. Be sure to subscribe because that really does help a lot. With that said, let's just get straight into it. In last place, Adam Eve Special. Now, this to me, I thought I only watched it for the first time literally this morning, and I thought it was a solid special set in the world of Invincible, a solid backstory in the world of Invincible, but also it just inherently didn't do anything for me where I would go back and rewatch this as opposed to the three other seasons of Invincible. Inherently, it is a special, and it has all the constraints of being a special. Now, while I thought it was good, while I enjoyed it, it was perfectly passable. There was nothing in the plot where I went, oh, I don't like that. There was no plot beats where it absolutely jarred me the way that maybe an actual season of Invincible maybe had plot lines that I didn't think need to be there or anything like that. No, it didn't do anything like that. But inherently, because it's a special, there's not enough time for it to develop any of its characters or its plot. Thus, when you get to the characters, I don't really care about them all that much. Like, the Adam Eve herself is more interesting in the show Invincible than she is in this special, and that's kind of jarring to me because I felt like she was a more compelling character as a side character in Invincible than she is when she's front and center. And because there's not enough time to develop the characters and plot, with Adam Eve, it just speed runs through her origin story. Not like the way they did with Mark in Invincible, but here, Adam Eve just discovers she has powers and is immediately able to master them. Whereas with Mark in Invincible, he has to train. He has to learn how to use his powers. He has to learn the basic steps of how to fly and things like that. And with Adam Eve, in this special, she's just immediately able to master her powers. And so there's just not enough time for it to develop its plot. I don't know how it would feel if this would have been a whole season of the show, but it's simply just because it's only a special, it doesn't have any of the strengths of Invincible. Didn't even do anything to oh, that was bad. I never thought that while watching this special. But just in general, if I'm going to go back to the world of Invincible, I'm not going to rewatch the Adam Eve special because I simply didn't care about the characters enough or the plot enough for me to actually, get something out of it the way I did with the three seasons of the actual show. So this was a solid enough special, but if I'm going to rewatch Invincible, like I said, going to one of those first three seasons. In third place, Invincible Season 2. Now, I enjoy all these as a point of reference. Even the Adam Eve special I thought was good, but inherently it was a special. Invincible Season 2, I do enjoy a good bit. And what I enjoyed about Season 2 is that it explores how people responded to the battle between Mark and Nolan at the end of the first season. And sort of not necessarily the tragedies that it did cause, though it did cause some tragedies, but how the characters would actually deal with that. So you get, Cecil, who's he's trying to make sure that Mark follows orders so he doesn't end up as his father. You get Mark, who's trying not to be his father, but struggles to, as deeply down, he misses his dad, and also he wanted to live up to his dad's legacy and how renowned he was as a hero. And as a child, he looked up to his father as this great figure. And the finale to season 1 changed all that. And it deals with how Mark is responding to that. And how Debbie is sort of deeply broken and is trying to deal with the fact that her husband was an actual maniac, like a homicidal person on Earth. Adding to that, you get Mark going to college, trying to deal with maintaining his relationship issues, and also you get just like some nice new villains in there. Angstrom Levy, of course, is the standout villain from this season, where this is where the show started having some sympathetic villains, where you get a character that is set out to do the right thing and then views the hero as the villain, as somebody who stopped him from doing the right thing. So you just get some compelling stuff there. And I question some things, especially what they do with him in season 3. But in this season, I thought it was a nice new addition, voiced greatly by, I think Sterling K. Brown did a great job with his voice performance. But of the 3 seasons, I did feel like that this season was a little bit too overstuffed and was trying to set up way too much. And what I mean by that is, like I said, you got Mark going to college, his relationship issues, him dealing with his father. You get Debbie dealing with her issues, Cecil being distrusting of Mark. You get Angstrom Levy and the Muller twins. You get even Mark going up to space and learning more things about his father and the Thraxans, setting up Oliver, the Viltrum Empire conquest in the 3rd season. And it's trying to set up all of that. And this is the season of the 3 that I just felt like was the most overstuffed. Like they were trying to do too much in one season that it was hard to focus on. Legitimately, while watching it in the middle of the season, I forgot about Angstrom Levy until we got to the final few episodes. I'm just like, oh yeah, that guy exists. Because there was so much going on that I forgot about it. And I was kind of always there with season 1, but season 1 was a lot more focused here. Nothing there felt overstuffed. And season 2 just feels like it's overstuffed. Also, coming straight off of season 1, which was very much about that Mark Nolan relationship, there's sort of less Nolan here. There's less Omni-Man here. And I found that to be kind of jarring. Like, I wish we got more of this character, even in season 3. I wish we got more of Omni-Man, because he was just so good in season 1, and I found it a bit frustrating he wasn't present enough here. But still, this is a good season. I really enjoyed season 2 of Invincible. It's very good. Just easily the most flawed of the 3 seasons. Our runner-up, season 3. To me, season 3 was just sort of what season 2 was trying to do, but a lot better. And what this season was able to do was that it still had several plot lines about, sort of at the end with Conquest and the Viltrum Empire. So the Invincible Wars in it with Angstrom Levy once again. It's doing all this stuff with the villains. You got a side thing with Powerplex going on in the final few episodes. And you get Mark's new relationship with Eve. But through all of these plot lines, it just seamlessly merges them in a way that I thought was so much better than the way season 2 did them, thus immediately making it an improvement over season 2. And alongside doing what season 2 is trying to do it better, it also, I think, just has stronger character work than season 2, where you get a scenario where Mark, after reaching his breaking point at the end of season 2, and after seemingly killing Angstrom, is really struggling to deal with the fact that he killed somebody. And that he's trying, yet again, not to become his father, and eventually reaches more and more of that breaking point. He starts going more and more kind of crazy in a way, until you get to the final line in the show, where it's just it's the right way to take the character, I would say, but it's also so gut-wrenching, done so incredibly well. You also, in the first 2 episodes, you get Mark and Cecil, who are sort of beefing a little bit, and you get that moral ambiguity once again, where Cecil is taking villains from previous seasons, reforming them, making them work for him, and Mark isn't too happy about this, and you get that ambiguity. Is Mark right? Should these people be in prison? Or is Cecil right? Is he thinking for the greater good? By the way, I do think Cecil's right, but it does give that sort of moral ambiguity there with those 2 characters, especially in the early episodes of the season. And once you get to the finale, of course, it's epic, it's large in scale, it feels cinematic. This animated TV show felt cinematic by the end of season 3, which is something truly impressive to me, because the animation in it, some of it is not good. I'll just say that. And it's passable. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just passable because, like, they are clearly on a budget. I think this is the season with the weakest in the animation, but that doesn't really matter as long as I care about the story. In this season, I absolutely did care about the story, and that finale was absolutely awesome. Even today, I'm still thinking about it. It's still incredibly awesome. And so I just thought season 3 overall was a better version of what season 2 was trying to do. Now, the way they treated Conquest a little bit near the end of it, I did feel like he just kind of spawned in and appeared late, because he follows up a plot line from the middle of season 2. And it's following that up near the end of season 3, so he just kind of spawns in and then they fight. You know, I wish they would have set that up a little bit more in the season. But overall, just a really, really solid season of Invincible. But coming in first place, season 1. And I feel like this was just a great kickoff to this show. I went into the show knowing absolutely nothing. I saw the picture of Invincible, I saw a picture of Omni-Man, and I knew nothing about it. I watched it for the first time like last month. And the show just immediately from the very first episode had a nice hook with a nice mystery going on. Its hook was at the very end of the first episode. It starts off, the episode itself starts off, and it's kind of like Spider-Man. Kids getting bullied in high school, struggling to be a superhero, doing all that with his father. And then you get to the end of it, and Omni-Man murders the Guardians of the Globe, and then I immediately get excited to watch the rest of the episodes. It just has that hook and that mystery going on to the entire season, where in the show, basically, the audience knows that Omni-Man killed the Guardians, and the characters are trying to figure out who did it, but it's always still just a mystery to the audience. We're never one step ahead of the characters in the show, because the audience is also trying to figure out, why did he do it? And little clues, little hints are dropped throughout the season, and then the answer at the end is also just very satisfying. Also, this show kind of always, from the very beginning, had multiple characters, multiple plot lines, but this is the season that I thought just never at all felt overstuffed. Everything had enough time to shine. Every character got their own moment, and every character got their own standout scene or line of dialogue or whatever. Even just characters that appear in one episode, like Machine Head, stands out in every single scene he's in, and I kind of wish we got more Machine Head in the show, because I love this character, and he's only in 2 episodes in this entire show. And everybody just stands out in their own way. And it just never, ever feels overstuffed. And because it just never felt overstuffed, I felt like it was the most focused of the seasons. And because it was the most focused of the seasons, it was very clearly about Mark and Nolan and their relationship leading up to the end, and how Mark looks up to Nolan. Very, very much about that father-son relationship. Because it's so focused on that, there's so much emotional weight once you get to the finale, where he and his father are battling when his son comes to the realization that his father is wrong, and you get to the end of, not the end of, but just the entire final episode where they're fighting, and it ends up in this brutal battle where multiple people are dying, and you get to this point in time where Omni-Man is beating down Mark. I'm sure this is the most iconic scene in the show, probably my favorite scene in the show. Omni-Man stops himself for just a second, and then he says, "You're fighting to see this whole world die. You'll outlive every human being. Now what will you have after 500 years? And Mark says something very simple.
You, Dad. I still have you.
And this simple line is able to just tug at the heartstrings, be gut-wrenching, and it just brings out so much emotions in light of everything that happened previously. So I felt like this season was the most focused of the seasons. I felt like it was the most emotional of the seasons. So for me, season 1 is still the best season of Invincible. Down below in the comment section, share your ranking of the seasons of Invincible. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to the end. I will see you in the next one.